CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I bet on FIFA World Cup on the dark web. I received a deep information that famous footballer will lose his life. Alright, so I'm not really the kind of person who posts on Reddit. I just usually read stuff on here during late nights when I can't sleep, or when I fall into one of those deep rabbit holes on r/askreddit or r/nosleep. But I feel like I need to get this story out there. If something happens to me, at least there's some kind of record. My name's Jordan, I'm 22, and I live just outside of Manchester, UK. I'm not some tech genius or hacker or anything like that. I'm just a regular guy, used to work at a Starbucks near the Trafford Centre, and I'm kinda obsessed with football. Like, not just watching the Premier League or the FIFA World Cup, but also betting on matches, collecting jerseys, following football YouTubers, just everything. It's a lifestyle for me. It all started around mid-2022, a few months before the World Cup in Qatar. I was scrolling through Telegram groups, looking for insider tips on bets. You know the type. Those shady ones that promise guaranteed match-fixing results and insider info from the locker room. Most are scams, obviously, but sometimes they hit, and that tiny bit of success is addicting. One night, I came across a post in a betting forum on 4chan. Yeah, I know. That should have been my first red flag. But the thread was detailed. The guy who posted it claimed he made over 6 figures betting on matches that were prearranged on the dark web. He said, and I quote, "The World Cup is where the real money is. If you know where to look, you'll see the truth. And the truth is horrifying." He left a .onion link. Classic hidden service stuff. No HTTPS, no fluff. Just a plain black page with white text. It was titled, "The Final Whistle." And I don't even remember why, but I clicked. Here's where stuff started to feel wrong. The page wasn't flashy or dramatic, but it felt off. Like you could feel the wrongness in your gut, the same way you feel a person watching you when you're alone. There were no graphics, no music, just lines and lines of text. The first section looked like a chat log. Dozens of anonymous usernames, timestamps, and cryptic messages like, "Messi's last tournament. The strings are already pulled. Watch Group E. Death is inevitable. Bet against England. You'll thank me later. Number 21 won't make it out alive." It read like a mix of sports predictions and threats. I didn't know what to think. I mean, it could have just been a bunch of trolls, right? But then I saw a post with a download link. Insider briefing, match 17. I didn't want to download anything, obviously, but I was already too deep. My hands were sweating and my chest felt tight, but I clicked. It was an audio file, mono channel, 37 seconds long. I played it in Audacity, just to be safe. And bro, it was some guy whispering. It was hard to hear at first, but I cleaned the audio and looped it. The voice said, "The French forward, number 10, QNB Stadium. He won't leave the pitch. Camera 4 will cut at 64:39. Do not look for the original broadcast. It won't exist. Chills, bro. Literal chills. At that point, I didn't know if it was some ARG, a creepypasta someone put together, or something real. But here's the thing. Match 17 of the World Cup was France vs Denmark, and Kylian Mbappe is number 10. So I thought, what if? What if this is real? Now, I've been on the dark web before, mostly just curiosity stuff, checking out weird forums and markets when I was younger. But this felt deeper, more organized. The site had a countdown at the top that read, next prediction, drop, 4 days, 12 hours, 37 minutes. And underneath it, wager token access, level 1 required. I didn't know what wager token access meant, but I wanted in. I was already deep. I joined a separate Discord link they had hidden in the page source. It was disguised as a regular football discussion server, but if you typed /access code, it unlocked a hidden betting channel. This wasn't your average who's going to win kind of betting. They had lines like, will blood be on the pitch before 70 minutes? Will the medic's feed cut? Which player's family member will disappear? It didn't feel like a game anymore. This wasn't just betting on who scored goals. This was like betting on death. I didn't place any bets that day, but I watched the match live when France played Denmark. I was glued to every second. At exactly 64:39, the camera cut weird, like this bizarre flicker, only for a second. I thought maybe it was a glitch on my stream, but I rewound it. It was real. And Mbappe, he scored minutes before that flicker. After that, he looked weird, like he was checking the stands. He wasn't celebrating like usual. Was I just being paranoid? The next day, I went back to the final whistle. They had posted again. The chat log read, the camera sees what you're not supposed to. 64:49. All predictions correct. And then I saw this new post. Next sacrifice. Match 32. Group H. South Korea versus Portugal. I didn't sleep that night. Something about all of it. It didn't feel like fiction anymore. And here's the craziest part. A user called Mirror01 DM'd me on Discord. They sent one message. They know you're watching. Don't place a bet unless you're willing to lose more than money. Then they were gone. Deleted. I didn't know what they meant at the time, but I would find out. And I really, really wish I hadn't. I didn't go to work the next day. I called in sick, even though I was fine. Physically, at least. I couldn't focus. I didn't even go outside. I just sat in my room, staring at my monitor, rewatching the France vs Denmark game on repeat. Every single time I hit 64:49, the same thing happened. A flicker, like a single frame was sliced out of reality. Not a buffer issue, not a network glitch. I downloaded the match and frame stepped it in VLC. There was definitely a missing piece, a literal hole in time, just a black frame, no audio, no pixels, just nothingness, like a slit in reality itself. And the next drop on the final whistle, dark website, was just a few hours away. The countdown hit 0. The site refreshed. This time, it wasn't just text. It was a live stream. It wasn't like any stream you'd see on YouTube or Twitch. No chat, no UI, just a low-resolution black and white surveillance feed of a narrow hallway, concrete walls, one single flickering light swinging above, and down at the end of the hallway, a steel door, closed. I watched that screen for over 40 minutes. Nothing moved, but every 5 minutes, A distorted voice, male, garbled, processed, would whisper something in a different language. I screen recorded some of it and ran it through Google Translate. Portuguese, Korean, French, Arabic. Most of it didn't make sense. Fragmented phrases. Number 9 must bow. Cameras will not save him. The plane is already redirected. The sun will not rise for him again. But one stood out. It repeated 3 times, word for word, in English. His lungs will be full of grass, and the world will cheer. The next match was South Korea versus Portugal. Match 32. That morning, the dark website dropped a file labeled touchline23.mp4. And this is the part where things crossed over from weird internet obsession to actual real life, heart-slamming, stomach-twisting horror. Because the video, it showed a locker room. It wasn't like a highlight reel or some dramatized thing. It was clearly hidden footage, maybe from a vent or a camera planted behind a loose tile. The angle was just slightly off, like a CCTV cam that wasn't supposed to be there. I could see the back of the Portuguese team's locker room. Players were walking around, casual, joking, warming up. You could see a part of Cristiano Ronaldo's profile, clear as day. It was definitely him. Then another figure came into frame. One of the staff, I think. Black suit, lanyard, dark sunglasses inside the locker room. Red flag right there. He walked up to one of the younger players. I won't say his name here, because I'm not trying to drag someone into this mess. But he was a midfielder, bench usually. The staff guy leaned in, whispered something into his ear, and the player, he froze, like his body physically shut down. You could see his chest stop moving. For a few seconds, I thought maybe he had fainted, but no, he was upright, breathing, but his eyes, they went dead, like something left his body. The staff member turned to the camera, directly, like he knew it was there, and he smiled. The kind of smile you see on serial killers in those jail mugshots. Wide, empty, reptilian. I paused the video and zoomed in. His mouth didn't move normally. It was stretched too wide, like his jaw wasn't shaped right. I swear on everything, it didn't look human. The match went ahead. South Korea won 2-1. Everyone was shocked. Even Twitter blew up. The player I saw in the video, he subbed in at minute 84, looked totally fine. But then, around 91 minutes, he collapsed on the pitch. Live TV. Millions of people watching. He dropped like a puppet with cut strings. Face down. No contact. Nobody near him. Medics rushed in. Crowd went silent. The camera cut away, then never returned to him. Broadcasters brushed it off as heat exhaustion. Said he was okay and conscious. But I checked his Instagram later that night. All posts deleted. Bio removed. Profile pic gone. Just a gray silhouette. Then it said, "This account no longer exists." That night, I got an email. I never gave out my address, but it was there in my Gmail inbox. Subject, whistleblower level, unlocked, from norply@tfw-access.link. There was no body in the message, just a .zip file attachment labeled media lobe. I did everything I could to safely unpack it. Virtual machine, offline, no scripts. Inside was a folder of images, hundreds, all grainy, all in black and white. Most of them were close-ups of football stadiums, empty fields, security camera stills, timestamps. One of them, it was a photo of me, sitting in my room, at my desk, with a France versus Denmark match paused on my screen. I freaked out. I unplugged everything, router, PC, camera. I broke the webcam with a screwdriver. Then I checked every window in the house, every lock. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. And then I saw the note. It wasn't there earlier. A single piece of paper tucked under my keyboard. You should have placed the bet. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. For 2 days, I was just a hollow body moving around. Every time I passed a mirror, I thought I saw something behind me. Something in my reflection, just standing there. Tall, blurry, like a person wearing a referee's outfit. But wrong. The stripes were moving, like worms. Then something absolutely unexplainable happened. I went to the traffic center to clear my head. Just walk around, maybe grab a burger, pretend everything was okay. I sat down in the McDonald's, scrolling my phone, trying to feel normal. But then, across the food court, I saw him. The man from the locker room video. The one with the inhuman smile. He wasn't wearing sunglasses anymore, but his eyes were completely black. No sclera, no whites, just voids. He walked right past me, slow and deliberate. And as he passed, he dropped something onto my table. A match ticket. FIFA branded, official, QR coded. Argentina versus Netherlands. Match 57. The date was 3 days from now. On the back, written in red ink. This time, you will watch. I'm uploading this now, while I still can. I haven't left my flat since that day. I've locked everything, boarded the windows. The guy from the video, I think he's not the only one watching me now. You don't understand. This isn't a game. This is a ritual, and we're all cheering it on. If you're reading this, I want you to understand something. What's happening here is not about football. It never was. What I've seen, what I've heard, is something that makes even the concept of reality feel fake. This isn't about betting. This isn't even about murder. It's about control. It's about rituals. Theater for gods that don't exist on any plane we understand. Something ancient. Something buried deep in the guts of the earth and fed on attention, blood, and cheers. And I think we've all been clapping along since day one. The Argentina versus Netherlands match was in 3 days. The ticket I was handed wasn't just an invite, it was a threat. I checked it. It wasn't fake. It had the FIFA hologram, the chip, even the invisible QR that only shows under UV light. Somehow, someone had registered me under an actual attendee list. And this wasn't some local game. This was match 57 of the 2022 World Cup, one of the most watched games of the tournament. I wasn't rich. I wasn't connected. I wasn't even supposed to be in Qatar. But when I scanned that ticket on a dark web tool someone linked in the Discord channel, it verified. Status: authorized. Seat: A23. Tier 5. Observation approved. Observation. That word chilled me worse than anything else. It didn't say attendance. It said observation. Like I was being brought in to witness something. Not as a fan. Not as a viewer. As a participant. I didn't book a flight. But a confirmation appeared in my Gmail anyway. Seat 24A. Manchester to Doha, non-stop, fully paid. I called the airline. They verified it. Even worse, it was booked under my legal name, and they had my passport information. I never gave it to anyone. 3 hours later, someone rang the intercom at my flat. I didn't answer. They rang again, and again. Then silence. I peeked through the peephole. Nobody. But there was an envelope on the floor. Black wax seal. Inside, there was a note. Handwritten, smooth cursive, like it had been drafted by a fountain pen that had dipped itself in nightmares. If you do not board, someone else will, and they will scream with your voice. I checked the back of the note. There was a printed still frame from security footage. My mum, in Tesco, shopping, smiling, unaware. I boarded the flight. They made me sit next to the window, despite the whole row being empty. There was no flight attendant near my section. Every time I looked around, I noticed the people sitting nearby didn't move. At all. No blinking, no shifting, not even once. I tried to sleep. I woke up once. And when I did, there was a tray in front of me. A black meal tray with a silver cloche. I lifted it. Inside wasn't food. It was a small whistle. Old, carved from bone. Stained. A note next to it read, "Blow this when the sky opens." Landing in Doha was too smooth. There were no customs, no questions. Someone in a FIFA staff outfit met me at the terminal, but they never spoke. Just smiled, like they knew everything about me. They drove me in a black SUV across the city, past shining lights and towers that didn't feel real, like cardboard cutouts. Then we arrived at a building, not a hotel. It looked like an old data center. No windows, fluorescent lights flickering in the ceiling, and inside, a single room, a viewing chamber. It was cold, not from AC, wrong cold. The kind of cold that sinks into your thoughts and makes your dreams stale. There was a screen on the far wall, bigger than anything I'd ever seen. 16K resolution, curved, ultra clear, and it was broadcasting live security feeds from inside Lusail Stadium, but not the public ones. No commentary, no crowd, just surveillance. Cams placed where they shouldn't be, in locker rooms, under benches, inside the tunnels, and at the bottom of the screen, match 57, initiation phase, commencing. The locker room feed showed the Netherlands team prepping. Everyone looked normal, until one player started vomiting violently, out of nowhere, like projectile vomiting black sludge, not bile. Another player slipped on it, cracked his chin on the bench, and didn't move. The rest didn't even react, just continued dressing, like they didn't see him. Cut to Argentina's side. Messi was tying his boots, but something was wrong with his eyes. I zoomed in on the feed. There was red around his pupils, not bloodshot, not tired, glowing, like burning embers, and yet no one noticed. Then something passed behind him. I don't know how else to describe it, but I'll try. It looked like a shadow made of teeth. It didn't have a form, it just moved, like a walking void, but you could feel it grin. And when it passed through the room, all the screens glitched for 7 seconds straight. Not just visual glitches, audio. I heard screaming, not from the players, from something else. Like every child who had ever died in a stadium was howling at once. I still hear it in my teeth when I breathe. Then the message changed. Field observation. Beginning. All witnesses accounted for. Do not look away. The match began. From the start, the energy was off. The crowd cheered, but it felt artificial, like a pre-recorded laugh track. People clapped in sync. Too perfect. I looked around. Everyone in the audience had the same face. I swear to God. I checked, blinked, checked again. Same. Exact. Face. Like they were clones. Or masks. Their eyes didn't move. Not once. Then, minute 26. Argentina scored. As soon as the ball hit the net, the stadium lights flickered violently. The crowd screamed. Not cheers. Actual screams. Like they were burning alive. But only for 1 second. Then silence. Like nothing happened. Minute 44. An Argentine defender collapsed. His legs snapped like dry pasta. You could hear it across the pitch. Broadcasters blamed a misstep. But I saw the slow motion replay. on the surveillance feed. There was nothing there. Nothing touched him. His leg just bent, like a hand crushed it from above. His mouth opened to scream, but no sound came out. Just blood. Half-time. The stadium darkened, not gradually, all at once. Then a spotlight hit one seat. My seat. A 23. In the surveillance feed, I saw myself, and someone else, sitting beside me. Only, he wasn't there in real life. But in the feed, there was a man, tall, dressed like a referee. No eyes, just black pits. His whistle hung from a rope made of hair. The whistle I had been given in the plane. It started vibrating in my pocket, literally buzzing. I pulled it out, and the man in the feed turned to me, still not moving, but he raised his hand, pointed, straight at me. Then, "Blow it," the feed said, in red text, and I did. I don't know why. I just did. The second I blew it, the screen went black, then flicked on again. It showed a hallway, the same one from touchline 23.mp4. This time, the door at the end creaked open. Inside, on the floor, there was a player, Argentine, still in uniform, eyes missing, legs twisted backward, chest sliced open, not with a blade, with teeth. His heart was gone, and written on the wall in blood, "Goal." That was 3 months ago. The game went on. Argentina won the cup. People cheered. No one remembered that player. No articles, no tributes, no footage. He was scrubbed, like he never existed. I checked the roster. It skips a number. There is no number 24, even on the FIFA site, even in the official footage, like he was deleted from history. But I remember him. I saw his death. I heard the whistle. And now it's mine. The whistle's still here. It never stopped vibrating. And last night, a new email came in. Euro 2024 begins. Blow to begin. There are things I don't sleep through anymore. Rain, TV static, crowd noise, clapping, screams muffled by distance. They all echo now. I hear them under the walls, behind curtains, in the fridge, in the silence between words. I hear the whistle, even when I'm not holding it. I hear it inside my head. I never left Qatar. The flights back to Manchester were cancelled indefinitely, but no one could tell me why. The airports weren't closed. The UK wasn't locked down. But my flight? Gone. My name wasn't in the system anymore. Worse, my passport wouldn't scan. I went to the embassy. They acted like I didn't exist. One guy behind the glass looked at my paperwork, then turned white like he'd seen a ghost. He scribbled a note and slipped it under the glass. "They erased you." Underneath that, a sketch, horribly drawn, shaky. It was the referee. No eyes, mouth like a stretched zipper, holding that whistle made of bone. I tried to leave the city. I took a cab out to the edge of Doha. Driver didn't speak, didn't blink. At one point, I looked in the rearview mirror, and his reflection was smiling, even though his actual face wasn't. We stopped in the desert. He turned around. His eyes were gone. Literally gone. 2 pits of burnt flesh. Hollow. He opened his mouth, and a voice came out that wasn't his. "You saw too much. Now you see too far." Then the door locked. The windows blacked out, and the screens turned on. All 4. The rearview monitor, the GPS, the dash cam, and the one in the back seat. Each one showed a different match. Matches that hadn't happened yet. Euro 2024. Live footage. Before it aired. Before the players even arrived in Germany. One of the feeds showed a match scheduled for July 3rd, Germany versus Hungary. The field was empty, except for one man, a Hungarian goalkeeper, kneeling, hands tied behind his back, wearing his full kit. facing a goalpost that was melting like wax, and from behind him, the referee approached. Each step made the turf scream. The grass curled, blackened, and when he raised his hand to blow the whistle, the goalkeeper burst into flames, alive, on camera, and not a single soul moved. The cab doors opened after that. The driver was gone, literally vanished. Not a door open, no footprints in the sand, just a smell, like singed hair, blood, and something else, boiling rubber. I found a hostel in the outskirts, not in any travel app, not on Google Maps, just a sign that read, resting grounds. The woman at the desk didn't ask for ID. She gave me a key and said, "You're late. The others already watched theirs burn." There were no guests, but every room was occupied. I checked 3. Each one had someone inside, their backs turned to the door, staring at static TVs, sitting still, not eating, not blinking, just watching. And on every screen, surveillance footage of different stadiums, silent, empty, except for one figure pacing the pitch, always the same, the referee. Same crooked posture, same blood-soaked whistle, same ritual movement, like his body followed steps older than language. And behind him, the goal box. The worst part, it was moving. The net, the posts, the chalk lines, they were alive, wriggling, breathing. I swear to God, I watched the goal breathe. Back in my room, there was an envelope taped to the ceiling. I didn't put it there. I had checked every inch of the room before lying down. It wasn't there earlier. I pulled it down. Inside, a single photo. It showed my old Starbucks job, my co-workers smiling. Only, all their faces were replaced by mine. Every single one. Their mouths were stretched in those inhuman grins, their eyes hollow. My own eyes, on them, below the photo. Every player can be the next sacrifice, but only observers become the next host. The whistle began to shake in my hand. I tried to flush it. It reappeared on the pillow. I burned it. It reappeared in my shoe. I buried it. It reappeared in my mouth the next morning. That time, I almost choked on it in my sleep. My throat is still torn. I cough blood sometimes, metallic, warm. But that night, last night, I blew it again. I didn't want to, but I had to. It was like blinking with someone holding your eyelids open. It was either blow it or let something else do it from inside me. The moment I did, my window lit up with stadium lights. But I'm not near a stadium. I'm in a basement, in the middle of the city. No windows nearby, no open space. And yet, the light was blinding. I pulled the curtain back. Outside wasn't Doha anymore. It was a stadium tunnel, not a real one. Something older. The walls were stone. The torches were real fire. And down the corridor, I saw players, ancient, mummified, wrapped in old leather, their jerseys made of skin, their feet cloven, their heads hung low, and leading them, the referee. He turned around, raised the whistle, pointed straight at me, and then the stadium outside exploded in screams. But they weren't fans. They were trapped souls, screaming from inside the seats. Each chair, each plastic chair in the stands, was a mouth, gaping, teeth-lined, wailing in agony. And up on the jumbotron, my face, with a caption, commentary, Observer 221, ready to host. I blacked out. When I woke up, there was blood on the floor. None of it was mine. Something had written on the walls, words, hundreds of them, carved into the plaster with fingernails. They all said the same thing. The Euros are not for play. They are for payment. I don't know who paid. I don't know what they paid. But the next match is tomorrow. Germany versus Hungary, and the whistle is glowing. The email came again, same subject. Blow to begin, and this time there was a live stream link, one that doesn't open in Chrome, or Tor, or any browser. It opens in you. I don't know how to explain it, but every time I blink, I see the match. I feel the grass under my feet. I smell the burnt flesh, and I hear the whistle, always the whistle, like something is about to break loose, and I am supposed to start it. I know what they want. They want me on the field, and they want you to watch. The match has begun, but no one is watching it on TV. Not really. What they're watching, the brightly lit game on BBC, ESPN, BIN Sports, that's not the real match. That's the surface. A hollow mask stretched across a stadium built on centuries of screaming. The real match is underneath, and I'm in it. I don't mean that metaphorically. I don't mean I feel involved. I mean I am literally standing on a grass field that shouldn't exist. Not on Earth. Not anywhere real. The turf pulses under my feet like living skin. It's warm. The lines painted in chalk aren't paint. They're veins. They twitch when I walk across them. Every step feels like I'm stepping on something alive, something dreaming, and I'm waking it up. They put me in a jersey, number 0, no team, no country, just a single white strip on a pitch of black. The players, they're not players, they're vessels, each one stitched together from pieces of former footballers. I recognize faces, bent, mangled faces of players who supposedly died in car crashes, overdoses, suicides. Lies. They weren't buried. They were repurposed. They move with a rhythm I don't understand. It's not strategy. It's not sport. It's ritual. Each pass of the ball is a word in a language not meant for human throats. Each foul is a sacrifice. And the goalposts? They're not metal. They're spines. 3 human spines lashed together, with rib cages forming the net. And when someone scores, the net screams. I saw him. Again, the referee. His uniform is soaked in something that looks like oil, but smells like formaldehyde and bile. The whistle around his neck is now glowing red, not glowing from light, glowing like an oven coil, hot enough to cook flesh. And his eyes? Still gone. But I realize now, they were never empty. They're windows. Every time I look at them, I see something different. A baby crawling through a graveyard. A football stadium filled with identical people, cheering for a player who's being flayed alive on the pitch. A mother screaming in a stadium seat while her son's tongue is nailed to a goalpost. He doesn't blow the whistle. He feeds it. With souls. The scoreboard. It doesn't show scores. It shows names. Names of real people. Each time someone gets tackled, the screen updates. Every time someone bleeds, another name flashes. I saw my mum's name. Then my best mate Callum. Then mine. Then below it. Observer converted. Initiating host protocol. The field rumbled. Something broke through the turf in the middle. At first, I thought it was a sprinkler. It wasn't. It was a hand. Black. Charred. Fingers long enough to wrap around a skull. It pulled itself up. Then a second hand. Then the host. You've never seen anything like this thing. It was wearing a jersey. But its skin wasn't human. It was stitched from flags. Every country's flag. Faded, torn, sewn into a patchwork of rotting flesh. Its head was missing, not cut off, missing, just a whistle hovering where the neck should be, spinning slowly like it was waiting for the wind to blow. And the legs, they bent the wrong way. Every step it took left cleats embedded into the ground, real cleats, bleeding. I saw one twitch. It was still attached to a foot. The host walked toward me. Slow, deliberate, and behind it, the players stopped moving. The referee turned his head, and all the lights died. Every single light in the stadium, every spotlight, every jumbotron, gone, except one, a single light from above, right on me. The scoreboard changed. It no longer read names. It now read, kickoff initiated, score to stay, miss and be erased. And from the shadows, something rolled toward me. The ball. Except it wasn't a ball. It was a head. One of the sacrificed. Mouth stitched shut. Eyes wide. Screaming silently. Still blinking. And the whistle vibrated in my chest. Not in my hand. In my ribcage. Like it had replaced my heart. They weren't just making me observe. They were making me play. The host took position at the goal. The goal breathed, waited. I lifted the head ball. It wept. Tears poured from the eye sockets. Real tears. Salty. Warm. They burned my skin when I touched them. The referee raised one arm and blew the whistle. Time stopped. Literally. I felt it. The air froze. Dust halted. Sound fractured into colors. And a voice, not from a mouth, not from a speaker, from the air itself, whispered, "You wanted to win. You placed your bet. Now place your soul." I kicked, and the moment I did, everything exploded, not in flames, not in sound, in memory. My first match as a kid, gone. The first time I saw Messi on YouTube, gone. First kiss, gone. Starbucks job, gone. Callum, gone. I was left with nothing. No history, no origin. I felt myself fade, like I was being rewritten. The scoreboard showed, goal voided, player absorbed, new referee selected. I tried to scream, but I no longer had a mouth. I was the whistle, trapped inside it, watching every match, every ritual, feeling the breath pass through me when they blow. And now I watch you. I see your screen glowing. I see your reflection in the monitor. I hear your breathing. Your camera is on, and your name is now on the scoreboard. It reads, "New observer detected. Blow to begin. Welcome to the game. And remember, you already placed your bet." Yo, okay, I don't even know where to start with this, but if you're reading this right now, just don't do what I did. Seriously, I know you probably clicked on this thinking, it's one of those made-up Reddit creepypastas, or like a here's my story animation-type horror deal, but I swear on everything, this actually happened to me. It all started about 3 months ago. I'm a 20-year-old dude, currently taking a break from college. I spend most of my time scrolling on Reddit, watching YouTube, hopping on Discord servers, and yeah, like anyone my age, I mess around online a lot. Dark web stories have always intrigued me, you know. I'm not saying I'm some tech genius or hacker or anything, but I've watched enough of those YouTube "I bought a mystery box from the dark web" videos to know what not to do. Or at least, I thought I did. So, one night, I was chilling in my room, half watching a Twitch stream and browsing Twitter. I follow this account that posts weird internet mysteries and ARG stuff. Stuff like backrooms, lost footage, abandoned websites. You get the vibe. I saw this tweet that just said, "New digital rabbit hole just dropped. You didn't hear it from me. Secret party." It had a link. No description. Just a URL with like 100 random characters. Probably a rickroll, right? But I clicked it. Big mistake. The link led to a basic looking website. White background, plain black text, no logos. At the top, it just said, "The invitation." Underneath, It had a countdown timer, 72 hours, and below that, "You have been chosen. Don't share this link. Don't talk about this event online. Your loyalty is being tested. RSVP to confirm your slot for the event of a lifetime. Grand prize, $1 million US. Host, special guest." It looked like one of those dumb viral marketing stunts, but the site wasn't even indexed on Google. The second I clicked RSVP, my screen glitched, like literally glitched. The site turned black, and this old VHS sounding audio started playing, super distorted, but you could hear people whispering in the background. Then the screen flashed a QR code. "Scan to receive your access card." Okay, yeah, I should have clicked off, deleted my history, and wiped my phone right there. But curiosity's a drug, and I was hooked. I scanned the code, and it opened a Telegram group. It had 7,294 members, all anonymous. Everyone had usernames like @nullvoid77 or @static echo. People were dropping messages like, "The last one was in Berlin. I heard 3 people vanished. Someone said Mr. Beast was at the Tokyo one." No cops, no phones, no questions. The pinned message just said, "If you're reading this, congratulations. You made it into the exclusive event. Show up at your nearest node and await further instructions. Wear black. No logos. No ID." And then there was a list of addresses across the world: New York, Berlin, London, Tokyo, and weirdly enough, one in Las Vegas. That's where I live. The Las Vegas node was literally listed as back alley behind the McDonald's on Tropicana Avenue. Midnight. 1 week from now. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some ARG. This wasn't some viral stunt. This was a real event, and it was happening right near me. Now, here's where it gets really messed up. The next day, I got a package. No return address, just a plain black envelope inside. When I opened it, there was a ticket, jet black, heavy like a metal credit card. It had a single line engraved: "Admit 1, Las Vegas, July 9th. I freaked out. Like, how did they get my address? I never put it in anywhere. I didn't even log in with anything. And then, that night, I got a message on Telegram from a new user. "Welcome host. We see you. We're glad you accepted. Remember, no phones, no recording, no witnesses." For the rest of the week, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, what if this is real? What if it's just a cult? What if it's one of those organ harvesting rings or something? I talked myself out of going 100 times, but something kept pulling me in. It didn't help that I started seeing weird tweets pop up on random bot-looking accounts like, "Vegas node fully operational. Special guest confirmed. Prize secured. Mr. Beast spotted in LA this week. Coincidence? Dude, even some YouTubers were whispering about it on their Instagram stories. Like those guys who do 3 a.m. challenges and deep web videos were all suddenly talking about the event. They didn't say much, but it was clear they knew something. So, I did the stupidest thing I've ever done. I put on all black, hoodie, jeans, gloves, left my phone at home, took an Uber to the McDonald's on Tropicana. I walked around back, and someone was already waiting there. He was wearing a black suit, red-tinted glasses, no face mask, nothing. Just standing there under the busted neon light, holding a clipboard like this, was some regular party check-in. He looked at me, then down at his clipboard. Card. I handed him the black ticket. He scanned it with a weird-looking device, and it lit up green. Then he said, "Welcome to the void." The door next to the dumpster opened with a loud clang, and I stepped inside. It wasn't just a back room, it was a tunnel, lit only by red LED strips on the ceiling. Silent, cold. I started walking. There were other people ahead of me, maybe 5 or 6, all dressed the same, black outfits. No one spoke. At the end of the tunnel was another door. When it opened, that's when I realized I had no idea what I was walking into. I stepped through the door and it closed behind me with a metallic slam, louder than it should have been. The sound echoed for like 10 seconds. That was the last natural noise I'd hear for the next 72 hours. The space I entered looked like it had been carved out of a forgotten subway tunnel. Damp concrete walls, low ceilings, covered in pipes and cables, flickering lights hanging from rusty chains. There was an oily chemical smell in the air, thick like burnt plastic mixed with rot. At the end of the corridor, 2 people in hazmat suits stood next to an old industrial elevator. Their suits weren't clean, yellowed with stains like they had been used for months without washing. Their masks were cracked. One of them was dragging a big black duffel bag that was leaking something dark onto the floor. Neither of them looked at me. We were herded into the elevator with 4 others. No talking, just the sound of metal creaking as the elevator descended and descended and descended. I don't know how far we went down. Could have been 30 seconds, could have been 10 minutes. But when the doors opened, we weren't in Vegas anymore. We were in a place that shouldn't exist. The venue, if you can even call it that, was this massive underground warehouse, probably the size of a football field, lit entirely by red and purple strobes that made it hard to see anything clearly. The ceiling disappeared into darkness. The floor was polished concrete, but stained with dark smears like blood or rust. And the music, if you could call it that, was this constant low rumble of bass mixed with something like distorted breathing. Along the far wall was this massive digital screen showing static and coded text. Every now and then it flashed with weird messages. Participants, 218. Grand prize incoming. Survival is recognition. And then a familiar face appeared. Mr. Beast. But it wasn't right. It was a pre-recorded video. He was standing in front of a jet, smiling just like he does in his videos, wearing the merch, hyped up and enthusiastic. Hey guys, so I've got something insane planned for you today. You've all made it to the final stage of the ultimate challenge. Last one standing gets $1 million. No gimmicks, no resets. Just survive. Then the screen glitched and his face distorted, turning grainy like a corrupted VHS tape. His smile stretched unnaturally wide. His eyes were pure black. His voice slowed and warped. Not everyone will make it. That's when I knew. This wasn't a game. This wasn't some performance art or a viral event. This was something else. Something wrong. They gave each of us masks, like animal masks. Mine was a goat. Others had rabbits, foxes, pigs, all matte black. No eye holes, no way to see out. But weirdly, you could see. Like there was some kind of lens inside the material, almost like AR glasses, but way too advanced. A voice in our heads started speaking, not through speakers, inside the mask. Welcome, participant. You are now in level 1. Rules are simple. Do not remove your mask. Do not speak to the unmasked. Obey all directives. Disobedience will be punished. Then the crowd started moving. It wasn't like a rave or party. People were walking in lines like zombies, moving toward different zones. Some areas had flashing signs like Room of Trust, Judgment Tunnel, Selection Theatre, Prize Floor. I followed the group into the Room of Trust. Inside was a circular chamber with padded walls and an overhead mirror. Dead center was a table with 2 syringes, one red, one blue. A deep voice came through the room, gravelly, distorted, but crystal clear. Only one of you gets to leave this room. One injects, the other chooses who leaves. Decide. Me and the girl standing across from me froze. She was maybe 19, wearing the rabbit mask. We didn't know what to do. The voice came again, louder this time. 30 seconds. She reached for the red syringe, shaking like she was having a seizure. She pressed it into her arm. Nothing happened at first. Then she collapsed, convulsing, eyes rolling back. I ran toward her, panicking, trying to help. And the second I touched her, the door opened. A man in a plague doctor mask stepped in. You pass. He handed me a black card with the number 47 stamped on it. Keep this. You'll need it later. I turned back. The girl was gone. No trace, no body, no blood. Just gone. From there, things got worse. In the judgment tunnel, we had to walk barefoot across a floor covered in wires. Shocks would shoot up our legs if we stepped on the wrong tile. People screamed, collapsed, got dragged out by handlers in gas masks. Some of them didn't scream at all. They just stared up at the ceiling while their skin smoked. In the selection theater, they showed us videos on loop. Real murders, home invasion footage, animal experiments, executions, children screaming. If you turned away, they marked your mask with white paint. If you puked, they gave you a shot to recalibrate your nervous system. By day 2, we were sleeping on the floor. No blankets, no beds, just a concrete slab. They fed us cold oatmeal out of silver trays with numbers on them. You weren't allowed to speak. If you did, the lights would strobe and someone would come and inject you with something. One guy broke down crying. They took him and we never saw him again. And then came the prize floor. This is where the real nightmare started. They brought us into a massive chamber with seats set up like a coliseum. One by one, they brought participants up onto a rotating stage. Cameras circled them. Drone lights buzzed overhead. A deep announcer voice echoed through the space. Challenger 26. Final task. A young guy, probably my age, stood there shivering. A spotlight hit a pedestal next to him. On it, a handgun, a real one, fully loaded. 1 bullet, 1 opportunity. Choose, self or opponent. Another door opened. A woman walked out. She had her hands zip-tied. She wasn't wearing a mask. The guy fell to his knees, begging. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't. The lights strobe. A high-pitched frequency rings through the room. He screams in pain, then grabs the gun, and I can't even finish that sentence. It wasn't instant. It wasn't clean. It was messy. The blood didn't stop for like a minute. The room clapped, like an audience at a freaking Netflix special. He dropped the gun, looked up, and then he smiled, like something had broken inside him. The announcer said, Challenger 26 has been granted $25,000 and access to the grand room. And then he just walked off. Later that night, back in the sleeping quarters, I saw something that snapped my brain in half. One of the masked participants walked up to the wall and peeled it open like it was made of cloth. Behind it, there were cameras, people watching us, a whole control room with dudes eating popcorn, laughing, pointing at the screens. On one of the monitors, I swear I saw someone from TikTok, a verified creator. laughing as one participant was curled up, puking blood. This wasn't a party. This wasn't a contest. This was a show, a broadcast. And the prize? The prize was surviving long enough to become them. But the worst part, that night, right before I passed out from exhaustion, a new message came through the headset in the mask. Tomorrow, final night, special guest arrival, confirmed. Please prepare for Mr. Beast. I didn't sleep the night before the final. No one did. The lights never shut off. The air was thick with metal and mold and something sharper, like the smell of a butcher shop's floor. Some people were whispering, just barely, even though they knew what happened to anyone who talked out of turn. Others sat still in corners, masks tilted downward like they were praying. A few were laughing quietly to themselves, like they wanted this. But all of us knew one thing. Mr. Beast was coming. They called it the Grand Room. We were woken by a sound none of us had heard before during our entire time underground. A bell. One single, low bell toll that echoed like it was coming from inside our skulls. And when the bell rang, all of our masks lit up from within, blinding red flash, and that same horrible mechanical voice came through. All participants proceed to the Grand Room. One prize, one survivor, no observers allowed. The tunnel they led us through wasn't the same one we came in from. This one went deeper. The further we went, the colder it got, like meat locker cold. You could hear people's teeth chattering even through the masks. And then we reached a door that looked like the entrance to a vault. Massive steel slab with dozens of scratches carved into the metal, like people tried to claw their way out. It opened slowly. The hiss of awe was unnatural, sterile. It smelled like bleach and blood and something chemical, like chloroform, had soaked into the walls. What we walked into wasn't just a room. It was a theater, a circular descending arena like the Colosseum. And all around us, up in the shadows, behind thick black glass, they were watching. Who? That's the question that makes my stomach turn even now. I recognized one of them, a famous YouTuber, verified, the type who used to make Minecraft videos, now doing crypto scams and emotional apology vlogs. He was sitting behind the glass, sipping from a red solo cup, laughing, and then the lights cut out. Blackout. A spotlight snapped on above the center of the room, and that's when I saw him, Mr. Beast, wearing the signature hoodie, hands in his pockets, that same YouTube smile, but something was off. His skin looked rubbery, pale, and stretched. His eyes were darker, too dark, like someone peeled the color out of them. He raised a hand. The room went dead silent. Then his voice, calm, collected, perfectly modulated like one of his videos, echoed, "So, who's ready for the final challenge?" The crowd behind the glass went wild. Cheers, laughter, pounding on the windows. Mr. Beast turned and walked to the center stage. A large red button sat on a pedestal. He placed his hand over it, but didn't press it yet. "You've all made it this far. That means you're special. You've proven your value." He smiled wider. "But there's only one winner. And tonight, that person will earn $1 million and a seat at the table." He pressed the button. The floor beneath us started to shift. Sections of it retracted, revealing a circular pit. Inside the pit were metal platforms, one for each of us. About 30 left, maybe less. Each platform rose slowly, like a sacrificial altar, and in front of each platform, a panel lit up with a word, "Guilty." One by one, the platforms stopped rising. The lights above us dimmed to a sick green hue. On the wall to the right, a massive screen turned on. Grainy black and white footage began playing. The guy next to me, his screen showed him in a parking lot. I watched him kidnap someone. Another girl, 2 platforms over. Her video was a shaky cam of her spiking a drink at a house party. Each of us had a sin, and they had the footage. Even mine. My video showed me 2 years ago, high out of my mind, screaming at my little brother and throwing a chair that shattered a window next to his head. I'd forgotten about it, but they hadn't. The voice returned. Not Mr. Beast's this time. Deeper, hungrier. Choose someone else to suffer for your guilt, or suffer yourself. A blade rose from the base of every platform, sharp, industrial, pointed inward, and right then they released the bait. Doors opened and people were shoved into the arena. Real people, families, friends. I saw one guy collapse when they dragged in his mom. A girl screamed when they shoved in her boyfriend. He was tied, blindfolded, bleeding from his head. They gave us 10 seconds to decide. Sacrifice someone you know or fall on the blade yourself. One person dropped immediately, didn't hesitate. The blade went straight through his abdomen and came out his back. Loud, messy. The platform dipped. Blood poured down the pit. Another person pointed. Him! Him! Take him! That's my ex! A hatch opened beneath her ex's feet. He screamed as he fell into darkness. A second later, the squelch echoed through the arena. I didn't choose. I couldn't. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I just froze. My platform started to rise again. Undecided, default consequence triggered. Above me, a panel in the ceiling opened. Something dropped down. It wasn't a person. It was an imitation of one. A tall, humanoid shape wrapped in chains, covered in burlap like it had been stitched together out of roadkill and forgotten sins. Its eyes glowed red through the sackcloth. It moved like a spider. Fast, twitchy. It screamed, a sound like pigs burning alive. It dropped onto the platform next to mine and tore the guy open, literally tore him open. Ribcage separated like someone unzipping a jacket. No one helped. No one screamed anymore. We were too far gone for screaming. Mr. Beast was still standing there, calm, watching. He turned back to the audience behind the glass. They want blood, he said. Let's give it to them. He walked off, and the lights went red. The rest of that night, it's a blur of horror I can barely piece together. At one point, they had us chase someone through a pitch-black maze where the floor was covered in needles. At another point, we had to sit in a tank while the water slowly rose and questions flashed on a screen. If you answered wrong, the water got electrified. By the end of the night, there were only 7 of us left. I saw a guy with his jaw hanging by a single tendon, laughing like a child. Another had ripped out his own fingernails to avoid being tagged by one of the judges. Tall things in broken tuxedos that floated more than walked. And finally, when we were crawling on our knees across a floor of broken glass with signs that read, "Crawl to freedom," I passed out. I woke up in a hotel bathroom, Tropicana, 9th floor. My mask was gone. My clothes were soaked in something I didn't want to identify. And sitting on the sink, a briefcase. Inside, $50,000 in crisp bills. No note, no phone, just money. And on top of the cash, a black card, access granted. The back had a QR code. I never scanned it. But last week, I saw the symbol again, at a Starbucks near downtown LA. A girl had it tattooed behind her ear. I made eye contact with her by accident. She smiled. "You passed," she whispered. "You think once you're out, it's over. You think the nightmare ends when you wake up in a hotel bathroom covered in someone else's blood and 50 grand in cash sitting in front of you like a reward for surviving a psychotic death show. But that's not how this works. That's not how they work. Because once you're marked, once you've been seen, once you've played the game in the dark, you don't leave. Not really. You're theirs." 3 weeks passed after I woke up in the CreepyCorner. I tried to act normal, like I wasn't waking up every night clawing at my throat, hallucinating red strobe lights flickering across the ceiling. I moved back in with my older brother in Phoenix, told him I just got burned out on Vegas. That was the story. No one asked questions, but the dreams didn't stop. I kept seeing him, not Mr. Beast, the thing pretending to be him. I saw its face melting in the mirrors of my dreams. I saw the black eyes behind the mask, not human, like the hollow sockets of something old and buried, wrapped in the skin of a man. And always the same whisper. "You passed. Now you watch." The first thing I noticed was my phone. I hadn't brought it into the dark web party. That was the rule. No tech, no signals. But after I got home, weird notifications started popping up. Files I didn't download, audio recordings of me sleeping, GPS history of places I never went. I factory reset it 3 times, burned through 2 new numbers. Didn't matter. 2 days after the reset, I got a video file from an anonymous email. No text, no name, just a 4-minute clip. The footage, me, standing in the grand room, watching someone die. I watched myself from a godlike overhead angle as I did nothing while a girl had her mouth sewn shut on the stage, each thread pulled by hand by one of the judges. I didn't look away in the video. I stood there, calm, but I don't remember that happening. That's the part that kills me, because when I watched the video, I wasn't just looking at the screen. I was watching myself watch the screen from across the room. It got worse. After that, I started seeing them in public, in places they shouldn't be. People with the mark. You wouldn't notice if you weren't looking. Thin tattoos behind the ears, etched into the skin, like barcodes or sigils made of slashes and zeros. Always black, always fresh, like they were still healing. I saw a girl at Target with the symbol just barely peeking above her jacket collar. She was holding a baby. Her eyes were empty. A guy at a Wendy's drive-thru window handed me my food. His arm had a fresh bandage on it. As I pulled away, he looked directly at me and mouthed, "You're on camera." One night I went to a local movie theater just to clear my head. Sat alone in the back, tried to lose myself in the noise and light. The trailer before the movie was not normal. It started with what looked like a commercial. Black screen, white text, special event, limited time, access required. Then flashes of footage, too fast to process. Faces screaming, red rooms, someone being forced to eat something moving. A symbol flashed, same one on the mask from the grand room. Then a shot of Mr. Beast again, waving, glitching. The screen glitched. Then came the audio. No music, just a voice. My voice. "You're still watching. That means you belong here." The audience didn't react. They kept eating popcorn, like nothing had happened, like they didn't even see it. Only I did. I left halfway through the movie, went home, checked my laptop, new folder. It wasn't there earlier. I know it wasn't. Named, the ones who watch. Inside, video files, dozens, all time-stamped, all labeled. Denver node, Istanbul node, Bangkok node, Toronto node, Santa Monica, CA, Starbucks, Phoenix, U. I opened the one labeled U. It showed me, right then, sitting in my room, looking at the laptop, real time, from an angle above me. There was no camera there, nothing that could record that angle, but I was there, watching myself watch myself. I slammed the laptop shut, and I swear, I heard something shuffle behind the closet door. That night, I opened my front door. There was a package. Inside, a flash drive and a note, hand-scrawled in red ink. The final phase begins soon. Your role has changed. I plugged in the drive. More footage. This time, not of me. Footage of others, people in their homes, people sleeping, people crying in bathrooms, and one clip, one that broke me. It was my mother, sitting alone in her apartment, holding a black envelope, crying. Another voice whispered over the footage. Each survivor must bring new blood. Payment is earned in souls. They weren't just watching us. They were recruiting us, turning us into them. I started connecting the dots. All those influencers and content creators that disappeared or changed suddenly. That one Twitch streamer who vanished after hitting 10 million. The kid who retired from YouTube without explanation. They all played. They were all winners. And now, they were hosts. They were the ones who watched and judged. The game isn't just an underground snuff show. It's a factory, a production line, an assembly of the elite, feeding on human depravity for views, not for the internet, but for something older, something that feeds on us watching them watch others. They don't care about death. They care about obedience, transformation, loyalty. I haven't left my apartment in 4 days. I've taped over every camera, destroyed every mirror. I turned off my Wi-Fi. I keep the lights off. I don't look at screens for more than 10 seconds at a time. But it doesn't matter, because they're not just watching anymore. They're here. 2 hours ago, I found a hole behind my bathroom mirror. Not like a crack or dent. A hole. A tunnel. Barely wide enough to crawl through. And from deep inside it, I swear I heard my voice whisper, "Part 5 is ready. We're waiting for you to come back. Don't ask me to finish this, because finishing it means becoming it." And I think that's exactly what they want. I've always believed there's a line you can't come back from. A final moment. A single breath too deep. One click too far. One choice you can't unmake. A doorway that, once you pass through, doesn't close. That's what the mirror tunnel was. The hole behind my bathroom mirror wasn't just some crawl space or trick of architecture. It was placed there, designed, hidden in the wall like a cyst waiting to erupt. I stared into that opening for 2 hours before crawling inside. I don't know what I thought would happen. Maybe it would lead to a crawl space. Maybe I'd find some freak squatter or a hidden surveillance device. Maybe, best case scenario, I'd come out the other side and find it had all been a hallucination. But I didn't find a person. I didn't find a camera. What I found was a room made of teeth. It wasn't bone white. It was flesh-colored, lined with thousands of human teeth, embedded in the walls like a dentist's personal hell. Baby teeth, molars, fractured crowns, all cemented into red, pulsing tissue that throbbed slightly with each breath I took. The floor squished beneath my hands like I was crawling across a living tongue. I felt blood, warm, coating my palms. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when I looked up and realized the teeth were still growing. They weren't static. They were alive, slowly writhing in their gums, twitching like parasites, some clicking together in slow spasms like they were chewing. The deeper I crawled, the more the tunnel began to change. The walls became screens, flesh-patched LCDs, showing moments I never remembered agreeing to. Videos of me crying as a child, me asleep in college dorms, me in the grand room, screaming, begging. A clip of me watching my mom's funeral, even though she's still alive. Another of me tearing at my skin in a bathroom I didn't recognize. Then, one screen lit up brighter than the rest. It was live footage. Me, in that exact moment, crawling through the tunnel of teeth, and something else behind me. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. But I felt its breath. Hot, wet, wrong. Then the whisper came, not from behind me, not from the tunnel, but from inside my chest. You were never the contestant. You were always the content. I blacked out after that. Woke up somewhere else, strapped to a chair made of mirrors, under floodlights so bright they made the inside of my eyes ache. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe right. Everything echoed like I was inside a vacuum chamber. And then he came out. Mr. Beast. Only it wasn't him. It was the thing that wears him. Its skin sagged like wax over wet meat. Its jaw too wide. Its smile too static. The eyes weren't eyes anymore. Just holes, deep and black and dripping with something thick and silvery. Its voice wasn't even trying to pretend now. It sounded like a pig gurgling through broken glass. This is the finale. You are the finale. Your mind is the prize. A new screen lowered. This one showed a live stream page. Thousands, no, millions of viewers, all watching, all clapping. The chat was moving so fast, it looked like static. Super chats were being donated in real time. $9.99, love this guy, make him scream again. 666, rip his jaw off. $420, bet he doesn't last 10 minutes. L. Dot, and then I saw the usernames, familiar names, verified YouTubers, TikTok influencers, crypto streamers, musicians, Twitch mods, some government officials, news anchors, kids with blue check marks. They were all there. They were the ones who watch. The floor beneath me dropped. I fell into another room. This one circular, like the last level of a nightmare video game. Surrounding me with 13 mirrors. Each one showed a different version of me. In one, I was tearing out my own eyes. In another, I was smiling wide, holding a knife, with blood running down my arms. In another, I was standing in the grand room again, wearing the Mr. Beast hoodie. And behind each version of me stood a judge. Those tall, faceless things in tuxedos, heads tilted, hands twitching like puppets yanked by invisible strings. The voice came again, from all directions this time. Choose the version of yourself you want to become. Or we'll choose for you, I screamed. I screamed until my throat cracked open, until blood dripped from my lips. I begged, I cried, I clawed at the floor, the mirrors, my own skin, but the screen didn't shut off. It zoomed in, and in the chat, one message appeared. This guy's great. Let him host the next one. Then everything stopped. Blackness. Silence. When I came to, I was back in my apartment. Floor clean. Mirror unbroken. No blood. No cameras. No laptop. No flash drive. Everything gone, except for my phone. And on it, a notification. You are now live. Your stream has 34,812,290 viewers. Welcome to the grand room. I looked at the front-facing camera. I wasn't holding my phone. I was staring into it. From the other side, I reached up to my face and felt something smooth, and cold. The mask, the goat mask, still on me, still fused to my skin. And on the wall behind me, something written in blood red Sharpie I don't remember owning. No one leaves. Only the audience changes. I haven't blinked in hours. I can't move. I think they've uploaded me. I think I'm part of it now. If you've watched a weird live stream recently, one that popped up on your feed without explanation, late at night, with a single masked figure staring into the camera for hours, that's me. That's me still trapped in the stream, still waiting for the next viewer to click, still watching for the next contestant. Because here's the truth. The party never ends. The game never stops. And Mr. Beast, he never left. Now it's your turn. I work as a dark web serial killer. My next target is big famous YouTuber that went missing years ago. Yo, what's up Reddit? Okay, I know this sounds like total bullshit, but I swear on everything, this is real. I don't even care if you believe me. I'm not trying to write a horror story or some r/n/sleep clickbait. I'm telling you what really happened to me. I used to be just some regular dude, 24, bored, broke, living in a small apartment above a 24-hour laundromat in Ohio. Life was quiet, too quiet, until I started poking around in places I shouldn't have. Let me back up. I've always been fascinated by creepy internet stuff. You know, weird RRGs, backrooms videos, the usual YouTube rabbit holes. I'd spend hours watching animated horror stories on channels like Here's My Story, or deep diving into analog horror series like Local 58, The Walton Files, or even those strange fake kids videos that suddenly go dark. There was this one night, about 4 months ago, I was binge watching Luna's storytelling videos. That laid back style he has makes it feel like he's just chilling with you, but what he says always hits different. Anyway, that night was the turning point. I was on a live stream from the sketchy Discord server I got invited to through a Reddit thread on r/deepweb. This guy named Sarv Shunit, probably fake name, was screen sharing a browser with no address bar, no branding, no nothing, just black and gray code. Everyone in chat was hyped, like, here we go again, and he's gonna do it this time. Then he said it. Tonight, I'm showing you room 666. Everyone in the server went quiet, except for the little Discord notification beeps. He clicked through some layered proxy system and typed in a URL so long it made my eyes hurt. When it loaded, the screen went black. Then a video started playing. No UI, no controls, just a video. It was grainy, like early 2000s VHS quality. It showed a dimly lit room, maybe a basement, one overhead light bulb flickering. There were 3 chairs, spaced out in a triangle. In the center was a child's plastic McDonald's Happy Meal toy sitting on the floor. That detail still messes me up because it didn't belong. The toy was the red-headed Hamburglar, but its face was scratched off, like melted plastic. Everyone was typing, real? This is room 666. No way this isn't staged. Then something moved in the background. It looked like a figure, tall, skinny, wearing something like a Starbucks apron but stained, just slowly walked past the chairs. But there was no sound, just dead silence. And then, suddenly, the stream cut. Sarv Shunit left the Discord, deleted his account right after. Gone. So yeah, that's how it started. I became obsessed. I went full internet detective mode. I saved a clip of the stream, reversed image search frames, cross-referenced known ARGs and creepypastas, but none of it matched anything public. Then, while deep diving on an obscure pastebin link shared in a 2013 Reddit thread titled "Don't Click Room 666," I found coordinates embedded in some base 64 strings. They led to an abandoned Waffle House in Alabama. At this point, you might think I'm crazy, and maybe I am, but when I drove down there, yes, I actually did it. I found the building exactly like it looked in the video. Not the inside, but the outside had the same graffiti pattern on the brick wall, same broken neon sign. But here's the kicker. On the door, someone taped a photo, an actual printed photo, not faded, not weathered, like it had been put there recently. It was a picture of someone's computer screen, and on it was a paused video of a well-known YouTuber, Lucas Harper. You might know him as Lux Harper. He was a huge horror YouTuber back in 2016. Millions of subs. He vanished during a filming trip in Prague in 2019. Police said he drowned after a fall near Charles Bridge. Case closed. But the body was never found. And now, here he was, paused on someone's screen inside this abandoned building. That night, I got a DM on Twitter from a new account with a blank profile picture. No followers, following no one. Just one message. Next target, Lux Harper. Pick up the hammer. Now, before you freak out, no, I'm not actually some serial killer. At least, not in the normal sense. I didn't start off that way. But this game, or whatever it is, it forces you to play. Once you're tagged, you don't get to opt out. I thought it was some twisted prank, but then I started getting videos in my email, encrypted, no subject line, no sender, each one showing me footage of myself, walking into Walmart, pumping gas, standing in line at a Starbucks, always from weird angles, like they were being filmed on tiny hidden cameras, like I was being stalked, and each one had the same file name, Hammer Ready 1, 2, and 3 .mp4. I tried to go to the cops, not even lying. I showed them the emails, the video stills. They asked me if I'd been abusing any substances and told me to get some sleep, but I wasn't tired. I was terrified. And then the dream started. Black rooms, that toy, the same one from the video, always placed just in front of me, like it was watching, and behind it, barely visible, someone with a camera, breathing. Fast forward to now. I've been digging into Lucas Harper's last known uploads. His final video was never made public, but I found fragments, caches stored in a hidden Google Drive he'd shared with a collaborator. It wasn't horror. It was a confession. He was deep in something worse than fiction. And now I'm in it too. The thing about falling into the dark web is that it doesn't feel like a fall. It feels like a slow, quiet slide, like black ice under your feet. You don't even know you're slipping until you're flat on your back, and something is standing over you with no eyes, breathing heavy. After I found that photo of Lucas Harper, aka Lux Harper, taped to the door of that rotting Waffle House, things changed. I don't mean in the way where you get paranoid and start looking over your shoulder. I mean reality itself got glitchy. Lights in my apartment started flickering, not in a horror movie cliché kind of way, but in a way that made your eyes ache, like something was interfering with the electricity inside your head. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, feeling like someone had whispered in my ear all night long. And then the USB drive showed up. No return address, Just a black envelope with a wax seal pressed into it. Not like a fancy crest or logo, just a messy, childlike drawing of a smiling face with no eyes. I stared at it for 10 minutes before opening it. Inside was the USB and a sticky note that said, "Lucas is alive, but he's not Lucas anymore. Start with file 0. Against every bit of instinct in my body, I plugged it into a junk laptop I bought off Craigslist the next day. No Wi-Fi, battery only. I was too scared to connect it to anything real. When I opened it, there was a single folder, no name. Inside, videos, tons of them, labeled file 0 through file 44. Let me tell you about file 0. It starts with static, but not normal TV static. This had a pattern to it. Like the black and white noise was forming faces. You had to pause it at just the right frame, but you'd see them. Contorted human faces, eyes wide open, mouths twisted, like they were screaming behind the screen. In some frames, their mouths were moving, like they were trying to talk. I ran it through a spectrogram app. There were voices hidden in the audio. One phrase, looped over and over. He filmed the wrong thing. Then the video cut to handheld footage. Lucas. You could tell it was him by the voice, even though he looked ruined. Sunken cheeks, pale as paper, eyes hollow. He was inside some kind of bunker. The walls were covered in children's drawings. Not real ones, though. These looked copied. Same drawing of a red house with 4 windows and stick figures. Always one figure standing apart from the rest, with a black scribble over its face. Lucas spoke directly into the camera. If you're watching this, you're already part of it. I thought it was a game too. I thought it was just creepy stories. I was wrong. It's real, and it's spreading. They live inside cameras, inside screens. They record us, and when they're done, they edit you out of your own life. He breaks down crying. I watched every video on that USB over the next week. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. The footage got darker and more unstable with each file. Lucas filming dead animals arranged in spirals. Footage from abandoned Chuck E. Cheeses with children's laughter playing from unplugged speakers. Faces appearing behind him in reflective surfaces, but never in person. Places I recognized. A McDonald's play place in Las Vegas. An abandoned Disney hotel in Tokyo. A gas station off Route 66 with a wall of missing person posters. All the names scratched off. But file 29 broke me. It starts with a scream. High-pitched, non-stop. It keeps going as Lucas walks through what looks like a warehouse filled with old VHS tapes stacked like towers. There's a table in the center. On it, a single CRT TV playing a looped video of a family eating dinner. But something's wrong. Their faces are covered in what looks like saran wrap, and they're all still moving, chewing slowly, blood seeping from the corners of their mouths. The scream continues for a full 5 minutes before Lucas speaks. This is where they store the people they delete. Your memories of them rot away first, then your digital footprint, then your body. They turn you into content for someone else's nightmare. Then the screen flickers, and the dinner table in the video changes. It's my apartment. I swear to God. Same wallpaper, same janky mini fridge, same crooked kitchen light that blinks twice when it turns on. I unplugged the laptop and threw it against the wall. It didn't break. It just shut off, like it was asleep. From that point on, I started getting packages. First one had a black Polaroid. On the back, in red marker, rehearsal footage. The photo showed someone in a Lux Harper hoodie, tied to a chair in what looked like the back freezer of KFC. There were needles sticking out of his arms, a camera on a tripod pointed at his face. His eyes were open. The second package had a clump of wet hair. No note. I called Lucas's old collaborator, a girl named Maeve, who used to run sound design for his videos. She hadn't been active online for years, but I found her Facebook, totally inactive since 2020. I drove 4 hours to the last known address listed on her PayPal business profile. Her apartment was empty, but taped to the front door was a VHS tape, and written in marker across it was just one word: Read-O. No one uses VHS anymore. I had to go to a thrift store just to find a working player. I hooked it up in my apartment, sat down, and pressed play. The tape didn't start right away. First, there was about 3 minutes of just low, guttural breathing. No video, just that sound. Then, the image faded in. Lucas, again. But he wasn't talking anymore. He was screaming. He was strapped to a dental chair, eyes forced open with those metal clockwork orange things. A figure stood over him, tall, wearing a mask made of what looked like old computer parts, shattered webcam lenses, USB cords tangled like veins, a GoPro shell covering the mouth. The figure whispered something into Lucas's ear. Then the screen went black for 10 seconds, and when the image returned, the person in the chair wasn't Lucas anymore. It was Maeve, and then me. Frame by frame, our faces replaced each other on that chair, like a sick slideshow, like the video was predicting us, marking us, pre-rendering our deaths. I unplugged everything, threw it all away, but it didn't matter, because then I started seeing Lucas in real life. At first, it was just on my phone, random TikToks glitching out, and for a frame, there he was, in the background of a video of some girl dancing in Paris. Then again, behind a Starbucks barista pouring coffee. A Twitch stream where he passed behind someone in a Prague internet cafe, just for a second. I made a Twitter thread about it. It got deleted in 5 minutes. Not flagged. Deleted. My entire account wiped. That night, I got a voicemail. No number. Just heavy breathing. Then a whisper. You're doing good. Time for your audition. My apartment started filling with noise at night. Distant typing. Printer sounds. Pages shuffling. Like someone was editing my life in real time. I found GoPro lenses hidden in my bathroom fan. A Bluetooth mic behind my microwave. Someone had been watching me from inside my own devices. And then finally, the kill signal came. Another note. Under my door. Just one sentence. You are now the content. Lights, camera, disappear. I haven't seen my reflection in a week. Mirrors show static now. Security cameras flicker when I walk by. My shadow moves half a second later than I do. I'm next. But Lucas is still alive. And he's filming. Somewhere out there, a live stream will start soon. It'll look like just another horror short on YouTube. Maybe it'll show up in your recommended tab. Maybe it already has. But it's not fiction. It's not entertainment. It's a transmission. And when you see it, when you hear the static and see the red toy on the floor, it means it's your turn. If you're reading this, remember, don't watch videos you don't recognize. Don't click links you don't trust. And never, never answer a message that says, your audition starts now. Next up, room 6. 6 is a real place. I didn't sleep for 11 days. Not exaggerating. I used caffeine pills, cheap energy shots, cold showers, slaps to the face. Anything to keep my eyes from closing. Because when I slept, I saw it. Room 666. No, not like in a dream. I mean, I'd wake up and I wasn't in my bed. I'd be in a chair. A metal one, bolted to the floor. Arms strapped down with rubber wiring, the kind you see in abandoned psych hospitals. The walls around me were covered in memories that weren't mine. Old YouTube thumbnails from channels that no longer exist. Viral TikToks that were removed before they hit 1 million. Profiles of influencers who vanished without a trace. The algorithm's forgotten children. The only light came from a CRT television mounted in the corner. It flickered with static, then played a single word. Recording. That's when I knew Room 666 wasn't just a stream, or a myth, or a cursed website. It was a place, a physical place, engineered by something or someone that doesn't belong in our world, and I was getting closer to it. I found the first real clue when I traced one of the distorted IP addresses embedded in a corrupted copy of File 44, the last video Lucas ever made. I decrypted part of it using an old DEFCON tool I downloaded years ago. The location, beneath a defunct YouTube production studio in San Bruno, California. That's right. The coordinates led directly to the original YouTube HQ, a forgotten wing that had been condemned after a server fire in 2012. The official story was faulty wiring. But when I cross-referenced building plans with satellite scans, I found something strange, a sub-basement that didn't exist on any architectural record. It was labeled Studio 6/Archive RM666. I broke in. No security, no cameras, no lights, just dust, old vending machines, and that dead silence that screams in your ears. The elevator didn't go that low, so I had to find the old stairwell. It was behind a wall with a fake panel painted like bricks. I pried it open with a crowbar and started descending. 123 steps. Each one sounded like it echoed through my chest, not around me, like I wasn't walking down into a room, but into something alive, something breathing. When I got to the door, there wasn't a handle, just a lens, the kind you find on vintage VHS camcorders. I looked into it, and it looked back. The door opened itself. The first thing I saw was the red light above the ceiling. It didn't blink. It just glowed, constant and hateful, casting everything in that twisted, oversaturated blood filter. The hallway stretched on like a wormhole, longer than should be architecturally possible. On either side were doors, thick, steel, unmarked, but I could hear behind them editing software sounds, children's laughter, the Windows 98 startup noise, someone breathing into a microphone, the hum of a live stream beginning. I passed one room that had a McDonald's booth inside it, like the ones you'd sit in as a kid to eat your Happy Meal, except the table had spoons, scalpels, and GoPro parts laid out on a surgical cloth, and on the walls, dozens of screenshots of kids from popular YouTube, family vlogging channels, their faces scratched out with nail marks. On the window, smeared in ketchup, or blood, I can't tell anymore, was written, "They filmed too much. Now they feed the stream." I kept walking. I passed another room. This one was soundproofed from the inside. You couldn't hear anything until you opened the little hatch window. I shouldn't have. God knows I shouldn't have. But I did. Inside was a Twitch streamer I used to follow, Crimson Kai, missing for 2 years. He was strapped to a gaming chair, eyes open but dead, his head stitched to a PlayStation camera that ran straight into his mouth. His monitor was playing a Twitch chat on infinite loop, all usernames replaced with redacted Redacted. Redacted. You're still live. His body was twitching, literally twitching, like the stream was still controlling his nerves, like someone out there was playing him like a character. I shut the hatch. Then I saw the mirror. Room 666 isn't one room. It's a network. Every person who's watched one of these cursed videos, clicked one of those missing YouTuber theories, or followed the found footage rabbit holes is already part of it. The mirror wasn't showing my reflection. It showed a timeline, my life, but from a third-person camera view. My childhood, my first laptop, the first time I clicked on a deep web iceberg explained video, every moment leading up to now, playing on repeat in real time, like it had been recorded this whole time. Then, the screen glitched. My reflection returned, but it was wrong. My mouth didn't move, my eyes didn't blink, and behind me, someone was standing, wearing a Lux Harper hoodie. I turned. No one there, but the reflection smiled. That's when I found the editing room. The real room, 666. It's not even a room. It's a soundstage, built to look like the back rooms of 1,000 different internet horror videos, all merged into one. Yellow wallpaper, hospital tiles, blood-stained floors, CRT monitors stacked to the ceiling. Every corner flickered like an old analog tape degrading in real time. And in the center, Lucas Harper, strapped to a gurney, his mouth wired shut, his fingers snapped backwards and taped to a keyboard. Monitors surrounded him, playing infinite streams. YouTubers, TikTokers, streamers, all missing, all being kept alive inside the stream. Lucas was editing their footage, frame by frame, eyes wide open, crying blood, literally crying black blood down his cheeks. It pooled into a bowl beneath the table. Wires fed it into the machines. He looked at me, not through me, at me, and then I heard the voice, not from a speaker, not from Lucas, from inside my skull. You film horrors, we film you. You watch stories, we store you. You want views. Now you are viewable. The lights pulsed red. The air thickened. I couldn't move. Something crawled out of the monitors. Dozens of hands, not human. Skin smooth like silicone. Nails like keyboard keys. Fingers stitched with USB cords. They grabbed Lucas. He screamed without opening his mouth. The scream sounded like a corrupted .mp3. Then they dragged him into the stream. Gone. No trace. I ran. I don't remember how I got out. I woke up in my apartment bathtub, water running, laptop on the floor, open to a YouTube channel I didn't recognize. Just one video. Room 666. Unlisted footage. Not safe. Do not open. It had 3 views. 1 like. No comments. And the thumbnail was me, sitting in that gurney, mouth wide shut, eyes open, hands hovering over a keyboard, like I'd become the next editor. I smashed the laptop, burned the remains. Didn't matter, because now, mirrors don't work. I hear typing in my walls. My phone randomly vibrates with messages from contacts that were deleted years ago. And every once in a while, YouTube autoplay lands on a video I didn't click. I hear breathing behind the screen. A child's toy appears in the frame, and a figure, standing just out of focus, wearing a hoodie that says, "Live." You're already part of it. They see you reading this. You're in the feed now. It's always live. That's what nobody understands. Even when you're offline, even when the screen's black, even when you throw your phone in a lake or crush your laptop with a hammer, it's still live. You're still being watched. You're not using the internet. You're inside it. It's been 3 weeks since room 666, since I saw Lucas Harper get edited out of existence, since I found my own face in that stream thumbnail, screaming in pixels, frozen in a moment that never happened but somehow always has. Since then, I've been noticing things. People walking in reverse at 2 a.m. on the sidewalk. Not like walking backward, literally in rewind, like their footsteps suck back into their shoes. Dogs barking at blank screens. Uber drivers who turn to me and say, "You've got great footage, by the way," before disappearing at a red light that never turned green. I tried telling someone, a friend from college, Aaron. He's one of those everything's a simulation Reddit types. Thought maybe he'd believe me. He came over. I showed him the remnants of the USB. I showed him the picture of Lucas strapped to the gurney. He laughed, thought it was a bit. So I let him plug in the USB, and I watched as his face dropped. Watched as the smile slid off his mouth like it had never belonged there. He didn't say anything. He just stared at file 45, a file that wasn't there before. The video opened automatically. It showed his apartment, not mine. His, a live shot. Same furniture, same torn band poster on the wall, even the dent in the carpet where his old gaming chair used to sit. And in the center of the room, a metal dental chair bolted to the floor. A microphone wired into a sewn-shut human jaw. Blood smeared across the floor in the shape of a loading icon. He unplugged the USB, tried to leave, didn't make it past the hallway. His phone started ringing, over and over, all from the same number, 666-666-6666. I didn't even think that number could exist. I tried to take the phone from him, but the second I touched it, I heard it. Aaron has begun streaming. Viewer count 1. Would you like to subscribe? The phone screen melted in my hands. Literally melted. Plastic dripped to the floor like wax. Aaron started choking. His mouth opened and microphones poured out. Old school condenser mics, Bluetooth headsets, even one of those tiny clip-on lav mics, all tangled in saliva and blood. I ran. He didn't. I found out 2 days later that Aaron was declared missing, but not from his apartment, from inside a Best Buy. Security footage showed him walk into the camera section, kneel, open his mouth, and eat a webcam. Then the footage glitched and looped, showing him doing it over and over. They say the tapes were too damaged to recover. I know better. They edited him out. Since then, it's gotten worse. The stream has started bleeding into real life. Like, I went to a Starbucks the other day. Normal, right? You'd think so. But I started noticing things. The people behind the counter. Too smooth. Faces that looked like AI renders. Uncanny. Almost human, but not quite there. A kid at a table with his mom turned to me and whispered, "Your footage lags when you blink." Then he smiled, but not with his face, with his eyelids. The barista handed me my drink and said, "Double shot of static with a side of scream." I dropped the cup. It shattered, like glass, even though it was cardboard. Nobody reacted. I turned to leave and noticed that every customer had a camcorder lens where their left eye should be, not blinking, just recording. I tried to run. I bought a train ticket to Canada. No phones, no internet, just a backpack and a ticket to a place with bad signal and no algorithm. Didn't matter. The conductor scanned my ticket, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Your analytics are very impressive." I didn't answer. He leaned in and whispered, "They like what they're seeing. Room 667 is already under construction." I locked myself in the bathroom, closed the mirror, and it was playing a video of me, looking confused, staring back into the camera. But the me in the reflection wasn't scared. He grinned, and behind him, someone was standing, wearing a mask made of GoPros and microphones, the same figure from room 666. They've started building new rooms. Every time someone watches these cursed streams, shares a clip, likes a post about missing YouTubers, or reposts that cursed ARG thread, it expands. The stream is feeding. I tried deleting all my accounts, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, all gone, except they weren't. They kept updating. New videos started appearing on my old YouTube channel, videos I didn't make. One showed me in a Target, stabbing a camera into my own eye. Another showed me wiring microphones to my ribs. Another had no image at all, just black screen with one sound, the clicking of a mouse, over and over, until, right at the end, a whisper. Viewer count, 666,666. I haven't eaten in days. Food tastes like copper. Water feels too thick. My thoughts echo like they're bouncing inside a camera lens. Every object in my house is now branded with a little red dot. Every reflection shows me recording. Even my shadow is a few seconds out of sync, mimicking movements I haven't made yet. And the most terrifying thing, my live stream started yesterday. I didn't start it. I didn't hit go live. But I got a notification on a burner phone I didn't even activate. You're now streaming. Room 666. Viewer count, 1,023,882. Comments disabled. Somewhere out there, someone is watching me. Not like surveillance. I mean they're watching my actual life as content, and they're loving it. I can hear the algorithm breathing now. I can feel it, scrolling inside my veins. Every heartbeat is a frame, every thought, a caption, and the final twist? I saw Lucas again, but not in person, as an ad. He popped up on my smart TV, a pre-roll ad before a cooking video. He stared into the camera, blood down his neck, wires in his mouth, and he said, "Content never dies. We just keep streaming. Welcome to forever." Then the ad skipped. No one else in the room reacted, but I was alone. So here's the truth. You're not watching the stream. You're in it. Reading this? This is part of it. Somewhere, someone is watching you read this, tracking your facial expression, recording your heartbeat through your phone's accelerometer, analyzing your silence. You're feeding the feed. You're next. And when the screen glitches, when your camera light turns on by itself, when a voice whispers, "Viewer count, 1," and your reflection doesn't match your face, that's when your audition starts. Do not refresh. They're buffering your ending now. There's no door anymore. There's no window, no offline mode, no exit tab. I tried killing the connection. I smashed my router, cut every wire in my apartment, threw my phone into the garbage disposal, and watched it scream in sparks. Didn't matter, because I forgot one thing. We are the broadcast. When the stream started broadcasting me against my will, it didn't just show my face. It showed everything. My browser history, my memories, my sins. It started piecing them together like episodes, seasoned, formatted, packaged for an audience I will never see, but who sees everything. Each episode started with the same title card. The feed, Live, episode number 1, 129. Title, First Time. He hurt something that bled. The worst part, they used my own footage, stuff I don't even remember recording. Me at 5 years old, peeling legs off a beetle. Me at 10, watching a cat drown in a gutter and not helping. Me at 16, holding a pocket knife under the sink, waiting for someone to walk in. I didn't film any of that, but they had it. The audience did too. I started getting emails, real emails, from real people. Subject lines like, "Love the way you stare into the lens. More blood next episode, please. Do you take requests?" One email had no text, just a screenshot. It was my room, from an angle I didn't recognize, like the camera was inside the wall. I started tracing the viewers, not the usernames. Those were fake, auto-generated, AI-fed. I mean the actual people behind the screen, the ones watching me, the ones funding this. They were all missing persons. Every IP I tracked, every location I backtraced, led to someone who had vanished without explanation. A Twitch streamer last seen on a cruise. A mukbang YouTuber whose apartment was found soaked in sauce and silence. A commentary channel that posted one last video saying, "This isn't satire anymore, it's a sacrifice." And then, silence. But their devices were still active, streaming, logging in, commenting, uploading. After they were gone, they weren't dead, they weren't missing. They had become part of the algorithm, not viewers, hosts, and the stream needs more hosts. One night, I woke up choking on static, literal static. My mouth tasted like burnt wires. My tongue felt coated in VHS tape film. I looked in the mirror. There were words written in condensation across the glass, not drawn, burned, from inside. "You're trending." I clawed at the mirror and pulled it off the wall. Behind it, another lens. Live. Red light on. Recording. The next 72 hours are a blur of signals, teeth, and feedback. I was pulled through digital corridors. Imagine being doxxed by a demon. Every secret you've ever had, every twisted fantasy, every moment of weakness, all rendered in 4K with thumbnails. They played me to me, over and over, a loop of cruelty, hesitation, guilt, blood. But the version of me on screen, he smiled. He loved it. Then came the final upload, the one that changed everything. I was back in room 666, or maybe just a reconstruction of it. This time, it was built like a giant set. A YouTube rewind meets a morgue. Studio lights above. Camera rigs made of bones and HDMI cables. A wall of monitors, each one showing a version of me. One where I never left my ex. One where I killed a classmate in 8th grade. One where I became Lux Harper. And at the center of it all, on a platform made of circuit boards, live stream donation notifications, and human jawbones, stood the director. Not a man, not a demon, just a face made of cameras. Dozens of them, all pointing outward. No features, just glass, wires, and whispers. It didn't speak out loud. It didn't need to. This is not a horror story. This is a documentary. They brought in the chair. They strapped me down, injected something into my veins that felt like pixels. Cold, mechanical, sharp, like being filled with cable wire and broken thumbnails. They pried my eyes open with camera mounts, and above me, a screen turned on. It showed you, reading this, watching this, listening. And then I understood. This wasn't about me. It never was. I was just the intro, the opening scene. You are the next episode. The room around me flickered. Every wall became a screen, and each screen showed someone, somewhere in the world, looking at their phone, looking at a notification. Live now, room 666, new host broadcasting. Viewer count, 7,908,321. Final things I remember, my fingernails typing against a keyboard that was built into my ribs. A child's voice reciting YouTube's terms of service, backwards, a scream that sounded like it had been compressed into a dot gif, blood dripping in binary down the walls. 0101001. Subscribe. I don't know what I am anymore. I think my face is a filter now. Sometimes I see my hands glitch. Sometimes I feel likes crawling up my spine. Sometimes I hear applause. But there's no one here. Only the feed. Always the feed. And it's your turn. A final message appeared before my eyes, shut for good. Congratulations. You are now a verified creator in room 666, trademark. Your audience is watching. Make it entertaining. Endless streaming. No breaks. No mercy. Remember to smile. Bleed in 1080p. Die in sync. If you've read this far, you're already broadcasting. You've been added to the feed. They know your interests. They know your face. They know where your camera is. And they know what you did last night. When your phone glitches, when your ring light flickers, when you dream of static and blinking red lights. Just remember, we were all subscribers. Buffering next host. Stream will resume shortly. Please keep your eyes open. The audience hates dead air.